Hello and welcome back. Man, I first off want to apologize if I sound any weirder or more congested. I don't know what happened. I got contaminated by either one or two people. Either my sister or my girlfriend gave me this cold, so I sound funny. But if I don't sound funny to you, then I appreciate it. I just sound funny to me. However, before we get into the beatdown that Michigan State just laid on Illinois, I am Ryan from the Sports Carnage podcast. Well, you can check us out on Podbean, on iTunes. Make sure that you go listen to that, rate, subscribe it if you like. It's kind of what we get into and what we're about to talk about. Obviously, the biggest takeaways from the Michigan State and Illinois game, first off, is really how well all the starters played. It's a game that I don't know. I've seen them more in sync on all season. Even the win against Seton Hall, which would be, their best win of the year so far, they didn't really look this good. And especially in the second half, Michigan State was really just hitting everything. I mean, you look at some of the standout performances. Xavier Tillman, 19.7 boards, 6 assists. And it's really what, he's kind of been promised to be ever since his breakout year last year, because up until really this game at least, in this season, he's been somewhat of a disappointment, and he just hasn't been able to really be that X factor that Michigan State has needed him to be. So, today is, of course, a good sign, and you hope that it's something that he can build on moving forward. And even the same sort of thing with Cassius Winston. It's probably his best game of the year, too. 21 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. He really controlled and was able to control the pace of the game. And, I mean, these two guys, they both hit a ton of shots. And Cassius had 3 3-pointers, which is nice because he's been really just kind of off from three-point range all year long. And then, my biggest kind of star for the night, and is probably biased just because he's a guy I've liked ever since that he got into school, is Marcus Bingham Jr. with one of my favorite stat lines of all time. 0 points, 5 blocks, and 12 rebounds. And he was really, really active on the defensive end, obviously, right, getting all of those blocks, adjusting so many of the shots, and just really making it tough for Illinois to get in the offensive groove of things and making them not want to go down inside, because if you're going to go inside between him and Xavier Tillman, who had 4 blocks, right, they had 9 blocks combined. So you even think, and just do some quick math here, Illinois shot 75 times, and basically Xavier Tillman or Marcus Bingham Jr. round up to 9 to 10. So 1 out of every 7.5 shots that Illinois was putting up was getting sent back, and it's only by 2 guys, which is really demoralizing for a team. And you saw, Illinois shot less than 30% from the field. And it also didn't hurt that they only shot 10% from 3. They were 3 of 28 from 3-point range. So even in the first half, when Michigan State was struggling to get going a little bit, I know they had like an 11-point lead, and then Cassius Winston got a foul with probably about 4 minutes left in the first half, a second foul. So he was sitting down, I think, the rest of the way, and then Illinois was able to cut it down to 6. And then in the second half, Michigan State just ran away with it. It was like they couldn't miss. And I like to see that type of the type of games in terms of the chippiness as well, because there was some trash talking, there was some a little bit of pushing and shoving that you could see. I think a lot of the catalyst for that was the fact that Michigan State, they turned on their Golden State Warriors swag a little bit. You saw them after Cassius would hit a tough 3, or they had that stretch in the second half where they went on a 15-3 run, I think halfway through the second half, and real quick it turned a 6-point game into an 18-point game. They start to shimmy, they start to pump up the ground and things like that. And then when you're Illinois and you're getting either all your shots sent away by Marcus Bingham or Xavier Tillman, and then you're just not able to hit anything, that obviously is going to get to you mentally, and probably even get to you physically as well, where you just feel like nothing's going right for you. And then, by the time the other team's just celebrating, it's just going to piss you off. That's that's kind of the main takeaways that I had, or really just the main points from this game. It's nice to see Michigan State getting back on the track that you thought they could get after a rocky-ish start to the season, where they were they're saying at 5-3. They've won 6 straight games, and none of them have really been close. I mean, the game at Northwestern was a pretty close game, but other than that, they've blown everybody out. Granted, the competition wasn't the best, of course, but I mean, Illinois is a good team. They did go, they did beat Michigan when they were playing in Champaign. Illinois was able to get that upset win, and they still already had 9 wins on the year coming into today, and that transitions to the game that is going to be played on Sunday at 1:30 in East Lansing, which is Michigan State hosting Michigan. And that game, to me, it loses so there's I'll first start off by saying there's a lot of reasons to be hype about the game. Michigan State came in preseason number 1. They fell off a little bit, again, that 5-3 start. And Michigan, the complete opposite, right? I think they started off maybe 7-0, 8-0, something like that, maybe even higher. But, they worked themselves all the way up to like number 2 in the country, I think, number 3, something crazy. And then they lost 3 or 4 games. And so it's kind of a tale of two halves, a little bit like last year when Michigan went 17-0 to start the year or whatever, and Michigan State got off to a rocky start. And of course, we saw how that ended. If you're a Michigan State fan like me, it ended very well for you. And it's, of course, Tom Izzo and Juwan Howard's first coaching matchup. Michigan has a lot of buzz right now because of how well that Juwan Howard has been recruiting. But if you look on ESPN's matchup predictor, Michigan, they only give Michigan a 19.5% chance to win this game. So ESPN is predicting basically about a 80% probability for Michigan State to win and a 20% probability for Michigan. The main reason for that would be that Isaiah Livers, one of Michigan's key players, just went down with an injury. And, I understand Michigan State is also without Josh Langford, and they're going to be without Josh Langford for probably the rest of the year, which is sad, just the way that he has to end his career like that. But it's not the same. I think Langford is a better player than Livers is, but Michigan State also didn't have Langford really at all last year. They had him for maybe 3 or 4 conference games, and then the rest of the year he wasn't able to play, and then obviously hasn't played this year. So life without Joshua Langford, while he himself, I think in a vacuum, is a better player than Isaiah Livers is, it's easier because you've already been adjusted to life without him. Whereas Michigan, this will be their first game in total without Livers, and then it's going against one of the better teams that you've played all year. I know they did play and beat number 1 Gonzaga pretty handily, and then they obviously they beat North Carolina as well, who's sort of kind of fallen off a little bit though, or at least they're not as good or as highly thought of as they were when Michigan beat them. But you're going to, a really tough road environment, obviously in East Lansing, against a team and a fan base that, of course, does not like you, and they're going to let you know that they don't like you. And I expect the energy in the game, honestly, just to be off the charts because of really all the early season kind of chirping that a lot of the Michigan fans were doing. When it came to Michigan State, not only Michigan's excellence to start the year, winning the Battle of Atlantis tournament and beating at what was at the time 2 top 10 teams in Gonzaga and North Carolina. They beat them in a row, and then they beat them handily. And then, obviously Michigan State getting out the gate a little bit rocky, and it's just kind of all added a lot of fuel to the fire. Where now, at least on paper, because of course the game still has to be played, but on paper, at least, I mean, you have the Michigan State projection at 80% chance to win the game, and it looks like Michigan State has the better hand during this, during this round of poker, if you will. Just because really what we talked about, they've been a way hotter and more consistent team than Michigan has the past, month or so, and obviously Michigan Michigan just lost Livers, and some of the guys have started to step it up that you thought you were going to be counting on earlier in the year. So, and I mean, there's still some guys that Michigan State is waiting on to really kind of break out and be that solid number 2 next to Cassius Winston. There's good and bad to that, of course. The good is that you have so many options. You have a guy like Xavier Tillman. You have Aaron Henry. It would really be the 2 that you would focus on to say, one of you guys has to be the co-captain of the ship. But it's bad because me personally, I don't know that either one of them this year has done enough to really solidify, all right, if Cassius is out, we're going to be the guy undoubtedly that they go to. My guess is that guy probably ends up being Xavier Tillman. I think he's more likely to keep up the pace of play that he was doing today, only because he has some really nice moves today. And it's not the same as, Aaron Henry, who can get like hot from deep or go to the rim and just kind of make some nice moves with his athleticism. Henry just has really nice footwork down below, and he has a lot of skills in the post, and he can shoot the outside shot a bit as well. And to me, that bodes well for longer season success and just kind of more consistent play when you do have a repertoire, and it's not just maybe you getting crazy hot for a night or so. But that's really what I'm looking forward to in the game. It might be a little bit of revenge for Michigan point guard Xavier Simpson as well, who for the first few years, definitely leading up to last year, you heard how he was this Cassius Winston stopper, and then Cassius put the beat down on him all 3 times that they ended up playing last year. So I would definitely expect for Simpson to be cognizant of that and want to definitely prove that he was what people were saying at the start of last year, and he's played well this year for the most part. But especially in the state, if you're on this page, if you have friends that like college basketball, which I'm assuming you do if you're watching me right now, you heard a lot about how he was going to stop Cassius Winston, and it didn't happen. And I'm sure he knows that, and I'm sure it's something that he's looking to rectify. And then as far as the Michigan State side of it goes, they had those 3 wins against Michigan last year, and it's definitely not something that they're looking to give up anytime sooner. They want to go deeper into kind of reclaiming that supremacy in the state in terms of college basketball. The 3 wins last year, definitely a start to that. Probably, pulled the flag a little bit to their side in the tug of war. Because the years before that, obviously Michigan was having greater success in the tournament than Michigan State was, and then last year they're flipping it on its head. And I'm sure that that's something that they're going to be motivated to really continue. But I do have So let me bring that back. So that's kind of what I have to say about the game. Those are what I'm excited about. Really what I'm going to be looking forward to is who's going to be that second guy next to Cassius Winston to really step up for Michigan State. And then just that point guard battle. They are 2 of the better point guards in the country. Definitely 2 of the best point guards in the conference. And it's always fun to see them match up and just bring the best out of each other, and hopefully for my side, Cassius Winston gets the better of Mr. Simpson again. But I'm really curious to what you guys are looking forward to and kind of how you guys see the game playing out. So let me know that in the comments, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you're watching this on Facebook right now. Let me know kind of what you think how the game's going to go, kind of what you saw from Michigan and Michigan State so far, and maybe even what you think the teams will do the rest of the season, how you think the loss of Livers will impact the Wolverines. For the fans of just these Facebook shows and Sports Carnage, again, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Podbean. All you have to do is Google Sports Carnage. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, which is where this video will be going as soon as I'm done with it. And then, if this is your first video, like this, your first Facebook Live, then, of course, welcome. Your first YouTube, of course, welcome. But we're going to be doing this. We're going to see. I should be awake. It's my plan to stay awake. But the Pistons are about to tip off against the Clippers on national TV Fox Sports Detroit if you want to hear, just the regular call that you always hear, or NBA TV if you want to hear a little bit of a different perspective. But Sekou Doumbouya might be starting for the Pistons. It doesn't particularly look like, and then my game is blacked out, so I have to change the channel and fix that. Where's my remote? It is right there. Hold on. Fox Sports Detroit. Sorry about that. But it was circulating on Twitter, at least, that Sekou Doumbouya might be starting for the Pistons, which seems like a really odd choice. But I'm definitely excited to see how it goes. It just turned into regular Fox Sports Detroit. There we go. Perfect. So I guess you're not able to watch it on NBA TV if Fox Sports Detroit is going to be broadcasting it. Voice commands aren't working right now. What is this garbage? Man, that's why you don't get Xfinity Comcast, because this is not working for me. So I have to figure that out. But that's all goes to saying after we get on after the Pistons game, I'll be here doing the same type of thing, and I'll just be changing my hats from this fabulous capital S green one to my teal Pistons horse fire logo. So that's what we have for you guys. Make sure, again, you check out our Sports Carnage podcast. Check out all of the articles that we have on Detroit Sports Nation. Facebook is really easy and it's really nice. Just follow the links there. Click on the big Detroit Sports Nation photo in their corner right there, and then click on the blue highlighted link that says Sports Carnage Podcast. And if you're on YouTube, we'll have our Sports Carnage Podcast links down below in the description. So make sure you comment, subscribe, rate, review. Let us know what you like about it, what you don't, and then we'll try and appease you, and it still probably won't work. But that's what we have for you guys today, and I'll see you in about 2.5 hours. Thank you. And my video.